Good morning, this is your Cherry Peak Ski Report for Saturday, March 4th, 2023. We have a mid-mountain base depth of 70 inches with 3 inches of snow in the past 24 hours. Roads to the mountain are bare and dry, and the skies are partly cloudy. Today's operational hours are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. day skiing and 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for night skiing. We'll be operating Gateway Triple Chairlift and Vista Triple Chairlift. We'll also be operating the Summit, and there's plenty of leftover powder from this past week's storm. It's going to be an epic day at the peak. We'll also be operating the Magic Carpet. This will serve as tubing and the Bunny Hill. Be sure to complete your digital waiver before arrival for all tubing tickets. Well, it's that time of year. Yes, our annual pass sale is underway. You can get your whole family involved for as little as $749 for our season annual family pass. Get yours today. All kinds of great discounts across the board. Go to skicpr.com for any further details and information. We'll catch you at the peak.
The following is a paid program of commercial time on KVNU. The information, offers, and claims are solely those of the sponsor and not the opinions of this station, its affiliates, management, or employees. It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without a homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the first edition of the show for 2023. Good morning on a not exactly spring-like day yet.
Oh, it is spring.
But we're getting
spring.
ready to talk about gardening. So as we started talking about this a week and a half ago, people started saying, "Are you crazy? How can you talk about gardening yet?" And gardeners are always crazy.
Oh, everybody's so excited. We had so many customers in yesterday getting their seeds early, and they're just like, shaking with excitement. It's like, I just want the snow to melt. It's funny. I haven't heard the intro for like 4 months because we've taken a break, and it's like, oh, it's all about vegetables, and that's kind of what I think the theme of this year is going to be is vegetables, because you go to the grocery store and everything's it's just so much more expensive. Yeah, everything's really expensive. So, and for me, gardening's not all about saving money. It's all about getting the best product that you could possibly have. And it's funny, we were talking to somebody the other day, and we're talking about going out into your garden and picking, a tomato or beans or corn or whatever it is that you're growing there, and it just tastes so much better when it comes right out of the garden than even if you go to the farmer's market. They picked it yesterday. They picked it the day before, and then they're selling it today, so it's been sitting around for 12 to 24 hours. And in the grocery store, it's been sitting way longer than that because it had to get shipped here from California or Mexico or wherever it came from. And so, when you can grow it yourself, go out there and pick it, eat it, just as you stand out there in the garden, it just doesn't get any better than that.
Plus, it also tastes a lot better when you know the investment that you put into it.
Yes, exactly. It's like, this is my corn patch, and it's going to be amazing.
We were cooking up one of our summer squash last Sunday, and it just tastes so much better.
It does, yeah. I've still got winter squash left over from last year. I've still got onions we're using from last year. Here it is, the 1st of March, and we're still eating from last year's harvest. It really doesn't get any better than that. And even though it does look a little wintry outside, there's a lot of things that we can talk about right now to get ready for when that snow melts, because all it's going to take is a couple days in the high 40s, low 50s, and
it's going to start.
That snow's going to be gone. Yeah. Yep, it's going to be gone.
And with the water that we're anticipating, let's hope that we have just the moisture that we need to be able to keep our gardens, our lawns green and growing.
Bear Lake's going to be lapping up against the road this year.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wouldn't it be beautiful?
They're letting water out.
Great.
They're letting water out already, and you hear about some of the reservoirs down Salt Lake. They're letting water out right now because they know how much is coming. So it's going to do a great job filling up our reservoirs again, and we'll have some extra to let somebody else have some.
We really are hoping so. Well, it's great to have you back in the studio, Mark.
Yeah, it's
and
great to be here.
Kick off this first show of the season, we've got a few exciting things to talk about, plus also a special guest who is become almost a regular here on the show, Hank.
Yeah, once a year.
And you picked
twice a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually twice a year. So, yeah. Not all of our guests get to come on twice a year. So thank you for calling this week. And I did not anticipate having you on the show. And then you called and you said, hey, I'm going to be in the neighborhood. We're talking spring bulbs. And it's like, come be on the show.
It'll be 24 hours notice.
Hey, that's all we need sometimes, That's all we need. I wouldn't even mind if you just showed up at the back door sometimes. So it's all right. We can adapt here.
You're welcome anytime, Hank.
Yeah, we can adapt. Yeah, we can adapt. So Hank Stuifbergen from Stuifbergen Bulbs is here. We can talk about spring bulbs instead of fall bulbs. So we can talk cannas and callas and dahlias and lilies and begonias even. Yeah, we can talk about all those fun spring bulbs. So you're welcome to call in with questions or comments about spring bulbs and what to do now so that you'll have your bulbs ready to roll when the weather cooperates here in March and April. But we also have a lot of other things we can talk about. So at the store, we've been talking about melting snow, how to get rid of the snow faster. So we could definitely discuss some ideas there on how that works and what not to do, because some things work a lot better than others. And then, we're starting seeds. We're starting a lot of different things indoors. We've got some garlic rolling at the store, so that'll be ready to sell here by the end of this month. And we're gonna be starting a bunch of different things and have plants going. But you can start your own at home as well too. And March is a great time to start indoor seedlings, so they'll be ready to transplant out in April and May. And you can get a little head start on your gardening by starting a few things indoors, and you don't have to have a whole lot of space to make it happen either. And then last week we did a class on microgreens. We had a lot of people come and really enjoyed learning how to do microgreens to grow those indoors year round if you want to. You can have fresh greens and microgreens going year round, but we could definitely talk about that a little bit. And then this month for Anderson's is bare root month, so we've got our first batch of fruit trees coming in next week. So yeah. So if you're looking for fruit trees will start arriving next week, and then potatoes will start coming here probably around the 10th. I think it's the 10th of March. No, it's going to be probably closer to the 13th or 14th, now that I think about it. But asparagus will be coming. We got our first batch of onion plants in yesterday. And raspberries are going to be slow because we get those locally, and they've got 2 feet of snow on them. So so I don't see raspberries coming until to the end of this month, because it's just going to be muddy and wet, and it's going to be hard for them to get. But strawberry plants should be showing up mid March as well too. So a lot of things to plan ahead and to look for this month. Yeah. Kind of exciting. Yeah, kind of very exciting. So you've had some interesting weather over in Europe as well too.
Yeah, we had 20 inches of rain in January.
That is
20 inches. We had, so.
Yeah, that's a lot. So you've kind of had drought conditions for the last few years as well too.
The driest summer in history.
Yeah.
No rain, and the rivers were dry, like the Rhine, and
right.
So
that doesn't happen too often.
No, once in a lifetime, they say, but it happened 3 times already the last 10 years.
Makes you wonder if you're living a little too long.
Lifetime's a little expanded.
Getting older. So.
Yeah, getting expanded. But 20 inches of rain?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like a half a year's worth for
usually
it
rains only 2 times. The first time 2 weeks, second time 14 days. But now it was solid.
Yeah, just rain.
But I drove up this morning and I saw all the snow on the ground, and I was wondering how you can add fertilizer to, because there is all snow
to get the lawns to green up, and it's like.
Can you put fertilizer out now so it melts in it with the
kind of. And so there are some things you can do to get that snow to melt off and kind of perk the grass up and the plants. But if you put a high nitrogen fertilizer on, it'll help melt the snow, but you're going to lose a lot of that nitrogen, so it won't get down into the soil. So that nitrogen is a little bit more volatile than, say, your phosphorus or your potassium, your other macronutrients, and you're going to lose some of that nitrogen into the atmosphere. It'll actually evaporate and end up in the atmosphere, and then somebody else is going to get it when it rains.
Yes.
So somebody else will get. So you'll be fertilizing somebody else's yard.
Somebody else's, wherever the water runs off to.
Exactly.
So it is wise to wait then till it is melted the snow and then put the fertilizer.
But what a lot of our customers will do is they will apply, right now, they'll apply humate. And the humate is black, and it's got lots of humic and fulvic acids in it, and lots of minerals and micronutrients. And so the dark color of it absorbs the heat of the sun, and it will melt that snow faster. But then you've got the humic and the fulvic acid in there that reacts with the water, and it starts to break that snow down. Okay. And so it will melt the snow off much, much faster. And then all of that product will get into the soil, and it will encourage some early activity with your flowers, with your shrubs, with your trees, but especially with your lawn as well too. So we use the humate, we use that on our garden first thing in the spring to kind of recharge the soil, get things going again, because it has so many minerals and micronutrients in there that get depleted over the years as you're growing vegetables and utilizing all that. But the humic and fulvic acids, they'll break that snow down, and then they'll get down into the soil, and that just encourages activity in the soil, gets things going. So great question. You didn't have much snow this year.
No.
Just rain.
5 weeks, I saw.
You counted each one of them.
Many of us here would say, we'd be glad to share some of our flakes.
Yeah. We'd probably take that 20 inches of water, which we are really close.
Over an extended period of time.
Winter, I think from November until now, I think we're like really close to 20 inches.
National Weather Service put together their climate report that came out Thursday, and it said overall Cache Valley is sitting about 2 feet above normal, snow-wise. Now, snow depth is a lot different than just overall rain depth.
Yeah, but a lot of those snowstorms have been like wet. They've been wet and juicy. They haven't been like so powdery.
Yeah.
So we've had some nice powdery storms, but we've had some really, really wet snow in there as well too.
And what's the snow depth at Tony Grove right now? It's more than they've had in years. And we were up at Beaver Mountain the last couple of Fridays, and they've got more snow.
They've got 110 inches. Yeah, it's been a long time since I remember them being over 100 inches. Yeah. But I do remember some seasons over 100 inches.
There's just so much snow up there. It's great.
So what we need is a little bit of consistent warming to get some of that snow to start melting gradually instead of have it all come at once. Yeah. Flooding with the 2 inches of rain. Did you have some flooding? You're kind of prepared for...
Yeah, we are prepared.
So you're kind of prepared
Normally
for
our
that.
groundwater base is 12 inches deep.
Yeah.
I dig a hole 12 inches.
And there's water in there.
Yeah. That's normal.
Wow.
For Holland.
What a difference.
Yeah, for Holland. You're kind of very close to sea level.
I live... around 16 feet below sea level.
Yeah.
So protected by dunes from the sea. I live 3,000 feet from the coast.
So you're really close then. Yeah, you're really close.
Well, for some people who live down in the bottom of the valley, we could relate a little bit because
it's where all the water's going to accumulate.
It does, it does. But still, I mean, we're not that fortunate.
We're really at the bottom of Lake Bonneville, so Get enough years of really wet, we could start collecting again.
Well, and that's what we saw back in 2017 when we had a lot of that water that just had nowhere to go and collected down here in the bottom of the valley.
I just remember before 2017 they were talking about how many years it was going to take to fill Bear Lake back up.
Yeah.
And then we had that one really heavy year, and it just filled it up in one year.
Time.
Yeah, 1 year. So it will be interesting to see what happens with Great Salt Lake. I was talking to someone the other day, and of course it's really low, but last year, even with the snowpack at 30% for the entire state, the lake went up about 1.5 feet. And this year with 150% of normal, all that extra 50% is probably going to go to runoff if it melts at the right pace, and they're anticipating 6 to 8 feet of what Great Salt Lake's going to go up this year. So it will be interesting to see how that works. Our legislature just set a goal for the next decade to get it to come up 9 feet.
9 feet the whole lake.
So it could be most of that this year. So that'll be good.
Well, we've come up a foot and a half.
Foot and a half already.
Yeah.
And so they're, and I serve on the Cache Water District as well too, and so we're kind of anticipating what to do and how that's going to work and affect our reservoirs with all the water that's coming in and letting the excess out and our water manager said plan on 6 to 8 feet is what the Great Salt Lake's going to come up this year with that much water. Yeah.
Great.
So
and as long as everyone else is still getting the water they need, it's great.
Exactly. So we got a caller?
We do.
Wow.
First
Our
caller of the
season.
year. Yes, Lori from College Ward is joining us on the line this morning. Welcome to the show, Lori.
Well, thank you. Glad you're on.
Oh, we are too. I miss it for 4 months, but it is kind of nice to not have to get up early every Saturday. So,
I'll bet. Hey, I have a question with bulbs. I have daffodils that are just multiplying like crazy as far as bulbs go, and I'm not sure when we dig them up, are we supposed to only keep the big ones, or how does that work? And same with the tulip bulbs. Or how should I do those as well?
Well, on the daffodils, when they're done blooming, you dig them up and split them and replant them with leaf and all. And forget about them, and they come back every year again.
The daffodils.
Yeah, and if you don't do that, they can compete with themselves, so they will produce less flowers. So So when you split them up, they will reward you with more flowers and bigger.
So it doesn't matter if the bulbs are bigger or smaller; they'll get bigger if you divide them.
The little ones will get bigger too, because they're fighting for the space in the ground. And if you split them up, they have more space and they grow bigger.
Okay.
And that is the same with the tulips. Just do it after blooming, when they're done blooming.
Okay, and they're the same way then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do I have to put any bone meal or anything in there in the hole?
No, just a little bit.
Yeah, little fertilizer when you're replanting is nice. They use up a lot of that nutrient every year. So if you can supplement a little bit, that's going to help. And then in the spring, it's nice to fertilize a little bit too, right when they first
they emerge from the ground.
When they just start popping up. Yeah. So
otherwise, it's not needed. But
a lot of people forget that as soon as the snow melts, a lot of those bulbs are going to just they're going to be popping up really quick, and that's a great time to throw a little bit of fertilizer out there to give them something to feed on for the next couple months. So.
Okay, so I also have crown imperials.
Yes.
And I had a whole bunch on the side of one of my sheds, and then they were just beautiful the one year, and then the next year they were gone.
Did you take the flowers off the first year after they're done blooming?
No.
Well, you are supposed to do that. The same with the tulips. They grow bigger. All the energy is going from the foliage back to the bulb.
So just take the flower buds off, but leave the stem up, and then the stem will kind of die down.
Yeah. A plant always wants to survive first by seed. If that doesn't work, it's going to multiply its bulbs.
Yeah. So if you take the flower off but leave the stem, then it won't be able to produce seed.
Yeah.
And then the strength that's in the stem and in the leaves goes back into the bulb.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right.
You been in the bulb business?
I've learned a lot over the years, Hank. And it's like every time you come, I learn something. And Lori wasn't sure she was going to learn anything new today either, but now she did.
Yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're so welcome. How's your winter been? Are you excited about spring?
Well, I think January and February were 2 or 3 years long.
That's kind of what it's felt like. Hey, I thought the winter was amazing until the end of January. And then when we hit the 1st of February and we got those 2 weeks of cold weather, I was done. I was like, I'm done. And it's like, this should be over by now. So,
me too.
But it just kind of keeps lingering around. So we're going to get some of the snow to melt off so we can get our spring fever to break, Lori. So.
Okay. Well, I'm counting on that.
All right. I got my order in. Last week. So, yeah. Hey, thanks for calling this morning. And, you have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
Lori.
And that opens up the phone line, 753-5868 or 1-800-369-5868. A couple of the salesmen and I were talking earlier this week, and one of them said, you know what, I retire my snow shovel the 1st of March. I said, really? I don't know. With the way this year's been, you may not want to do that.
Wishful thinking. Yeah, wishful thinking.
Be nice to think. But, look at how many times we've shoveled snow this year compared to last year. Because that's what kind of led to that discussion was I think we may have shoveled our driveway 4 times, maybe 5 times, all last year. And I know for the last couple of weeks, it's been 3 to 4 times every week.
Yeah.
Good exercise.
Great exercise.
Since we helped coordinate the snow removal on Center Street.
Oh, yeah.
Last year we did 16
days.
16 pushes to clean snow, and this year we're at 25.
So another 10 on top of that.
Yeah, 10 on top of that. So, but last year most of those pushes were like an inch.
Small, yeah.
And this year we've had 6 and 8 and 12 to push. There've been some big ones,
really big
where we've had to do
storms.
multiple pushes because there's been so much snow. So, so just to kind of rehash what you told Lori, daffodils you can just leave them in the ground. Yeah, just let them do their thing. Yeah. But the tulips is nice to dig them up and
once in a while you dig them up and split them and clean them up a little bit and
And with the daffodils, do you want to leave the cluster because usually there's 2 or 3 bulbs all together, or do you want to break them apart?
I wouldn't break it with force, but if they fall apart,
then it's okay. All right, that makes a lot of sense. I've got a few bulbs left over from last year still. What can we do with those?
How come you didn't plant them?
Because we're just.
Would be beautiful in the center street in those planters.
I know, but what happened is the weather was great. The weather was great. And then
snow.
Done. And just cold and snow, and you really couldn't do anything after that. So, yeah. Who's up next, Will?
All right. Well, we've got a special guest joining us from Oklahoma. Friend of yours, Hank, Lori, who's joining us on the line this morning. And I'm pretty sure, Lori, you're not dealing with the snow that we're dealing with here in northern Utah. Am I right?
No. It's a beautiful day, sunny. It's supposed to be 66 today.
Oh, man.
But you got to deal with tornadoes.
But you've had some of the tornadoes and the thunderstorms that I've seen happening back in that area have been really...
It blew over, but we're safe. So I'm just driving around the countryside. And sitting here in front of some cows at the moment. So Hank texted me that he was on the line, so I thought, well, heck, I'll just call in and say hi.
Hi, how you doing?
That sounds wonderful.
Hey, Hank.
Great.
Hey, we love having callers from outside of our area. I mean, last year we had a caller from England. We've had callers from New Jersey. So
well. I've known Hank since I was, 16 or 17 years old?
17, 1980.
Yeah, because we used to work together when he was here for the summer at a greenhouse. So his family would, import the flower bulbs, and they had a contract with Juniper Hills. And so I got to know him over, mixing soils and shoveling sand and things like that. So he would tag along with me and my girlfriend sometimes. I won't tell too many stories, but we had a fun time.
You've known him just a little bit longer than I have, so I think it's probably early 90s. It's probably early 90s when I met Hank. So, but
so
that's awesome.
Yeah, and so I have my tulips are coming up, Hank.
Okay,
and they're looking beautiful. My hyacinth are blooming, and so it's starting to perk up, and I think I'm going to have an awesome garden this year, thanks to you.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll send some pictures.
Yeah. You're definitely a lot farther advanced, in season-wise than we are. We've got a foot of snow on the ground still, and have our fingers crossed for that first 60-degree day to melt that that all off.
Yeah, I bet. So.
But she'll also deal with the humidity this summer. That's
true. That's true.
That none of us would want.
Yeah. Well, we're going to send a whole bunch of water your way. So.
We're going to try.
Yeah.
I remember helping Lori moving, and it was 110 degrees.
Oh, yeah. And then you've got the humidity on top of that.
Yeah, hottest day of the summer. Yeah.
It was. Yeah, I had just lost my husband, and Hank was coming through the area, so he was nice enough to drive one of the trucks, and he helps so much. So he's not only knowledgeable about all the bulbs and things, but he's also just a great guy.
Yep. It's nice to have great friends, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
that's nice.
Well, we love him up here. Lori, thank you so much for the call this morning and for making us a little envious of those 60 degrees that we look forward to.
It'll make you appreciate it that much more.
That's right, when we get it. Have a great day.
We have a great day. You too.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Awesome. We're kind of at the bottom of the hour. Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, we'll take a break here, and then we'll be coming right back. We've got more to talk about with Hank and Mark as we enjoy the first garden show of 2023.
Hopefully we'll get everybody excited about spring and planting.
And if anyone wants to call in, share their tips on how to be able to clear some of the snow off of your gardens to get ready for planting, hey, we'd love to hear some of those ideas. 435-753-5868 or 1-800-369-5868 for the Garden Show, with more coming up next.
Bill Walter, KVNU News. Lawmakers advanced a measure to limit where people can get abortions in Utah, banning abortion clinics and effectively requiring they only be provided in hospitals with few exceptions. After passing through the state Senate on Thursday, it was on its way to the desk of Governor Spencer Cox as the Utah legislative session was winding down. The measure is one of several that members of Utah's Republican supermajority state house have passed this year, while abortion restrictions approved in years past are on hold due to a state court injunction. It has faced fierce opposition from business, civil liberties, and abortion rights groups, including Planned Parenthood of Utah, which operates 3 of the 4 abortion clinics in the state. Republican lawmakers' push to shutter abortion clinics comes as red states throughout the country work to implement restrictions less than a year after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. The former mayor of West Bountiful, who held leadership positions in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints over a number of years, was sentenced Thursday in a child sex abuse case that spanned decades. He received the maximum sentence possible. The judge handed down 3 sentences of 9 years to life and 1 sentence of 1 to 15 years behind bars. 77-year-old Carl Matthew Johnson was arrested in September 2022 at his home in Utah County. He was transported to Davis County, where he served as West Bountiful's mayor from 1990 to 97. Snow in the forecast, especially Saturday afternoon into Saturday night and early Sunday, 2 to 4 inches possible, highs in the lower 30s. For the latest news, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
You've heard a lot about the state's wood stove conversion program. However, you may not understand whether or not you qualify as a resident of Box Elder or Cache counties. Don't worry. Let the pros at Chim Chimney help you navigate the program. But don't delay. Sign-ups will be underway soon. Ask Chim Chimney about rebates of up to $3,800 for qualifying conversions from inefficient wood stoves for fireplaces. They sell, service, and install Fireplace Extraordinaire and Lopi. Visit them at chimchimney.com.
Own a small business or a farm? You thought about solar? Listen up. A new USDA grant was announced allocating $300 million for farmers and small business owners to put in solar. That's right. The government will help you get solar installed, covering 40% of the cost. And don't forget, as a business, you can save up to 50 or 60% more with federal and state tax credits. Second Sun Solar will install your system and help with the USDA paperwork. Call Second Sun Solar today at 435-363-9917 or online at utahsolardirect.com.
The Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And welcome back to the show on this Saturday morning, as right now we're sitting at a warm 14 degrees. Lori said it was 60 in Oklahoma.
I know. How rude is that? I can't believe she called and just threw that in our faces. You know? Is it really 14 outside?
It's 14 and a half right now. So
It just didn't feel that cold when I came down this morning.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just here at the radio station.
It could be.
My car said 24.
Your car did?
Yeah, 24
24,
degrees.
yeah.
24.
It's definitely colder out here in the middle of the valley than it is at like my house. I think it was like high 20s at my house when I left. So,
but if we keep these cold temperatures and just gradually start to melt off this snow, it's just going to make things so much easier, and we'll hopefully avoid a lot of the flood concerns that many of us are.
Logan City's having a sandbagging party this week, so if anybody wants to sign up and come do sandbags,
better be safe than sorry.
Hey, Public Works, I have to admit, Public Works is on top of it because they're like, hey, let's just do it now, and if we use them,
great,
we got them, and if we don't,
you save them.
That's all right.
Just hang on to them.
Yeah, so you can sign up. I think they've got a little sign up online if anybody wants to come help do sandbags this week. So I think it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And they'll be just like building bags. I think they've got a goal to do like 10,000. Then if anybody really needs them, we got them. So it's a distinct possibility that we're going to have some flooding this year somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if anything, then the fire department could use them.
Oh,
if 10th North gets another water main break like it did 2 weeks ago. Oh, man, that turned 10th North into a river for a couple hours.
Yeah,
that was a mess.
It happens. It happens, especially when we've had such cold weather and
really tough
soil heaving and whatnot. And we've had a couple of earthquakes in the valley too, so
a few little shakes.
It kind of jiggles things around a little bit. So kind of interesting. But we're talking garden, even though you can't even see your garden outside. We're talking garden. We're talking bulbs. We're talking how to grow things indoors. We talked about melting snow, and of course at Anderson's we've got bare root plants starting to come in already. So we got our first batch of onions from Texas this week. Next week we've got our first batch of fruit trees coming in. So if there's specific varieties of fruit trees that you're looking for, now's the time to come in and get your name on our list of people to call when they come in. So right now we've got over 100 people that are looking for specific trees. Might be 1, might be 2, might be 5, doesn't matter. But I don't have room to set those all aside, tag them, put Hank's name on 2 of them and put them in a corner and then be able to take care of them. It's overwhelming when you get 100 to 150 orders like that. And we just don't have the room or the space to do it. So what we do is we'll just, when the product comes in and it's ready to go, we'll call you and say, come get it. Yeah, and it's not like we get 1 or 2 of everything. We get 10 or 15 or 20 or 40, depending on how popular those items are. And so we'll give you a quick heads up. We'll send you a text. We'll call you. We'll email you, whatever you want, and let you know that those are here. And then you come in and get them, and we'll instruct you on how to take care of them until you can get your hole dug and get your trees planted. But when we have cold weather like this, it's not going to hurt the trees at all. They come in, they're dormant. They've been in the refrigerator all winter.
Yeah.
And so
just
they're
more of the same.
Yeah, they're just ready to go. So you get them in the ground under the right conditions, and they'll just bud out with all the rest of the trees when it happens in late March, early April. They'll just go like crazy. So first batch of fruit trees is coming in sometime next week, and so I haven't gotten a heads up yet, but I think the truck's supposed to leave on probably Monday or Tuesday, and depending on where our stop is, if we're stop number 4, it could be Wednesday or Thursday by the time they show up. So we'll see how that works out. But potatoes and asparagus and strawberries, they'll be coming here in the next 10 days or so as well too. So should be pretty exciting. Yeah. We've got another caller.
Another caller joining us on the line. Todd, welcome to the show this morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing great, Todd. How about you?
I'm doing great. I just wish you could come down and dig the snow out so I can plant my onions.
Understand. Hey, we had to have somebody come in with a dump truck and a back, and a skid steer to move some snow at Anderson's because we had so many big piles. I was afraid it was going to be the 1st of April before it melted. Yeah, on the north side of the building there, where the sun doesn't ever hit. It takes a long time for that to melt. So I feel your pain, Todd.
Well, some of the schools I know are looking at bringing in a few few skidsters and blowers to be able to move the snow off of the fields.
Oh yeah,
so that spring sports can start.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
I'll tell you what. Will was talking about shoveling and stuff. I'm about sick of it.
I think most of us are.
And your driveway is so long too, Todd. It's like it's got to take you at least an hour to do your driveway.
Well, some of those big storms, and I'm not exaggerating, some of those big storms that we've had, it's taken about 2 hours.
Yeah. Your driveway's about as big as this room we're sitting in here right now, Todd.
I know, and the thing is I finally, after I did half of it one morning and did the other half in the afternoon, and I called my wife. I go, do you think it's time to invest in the snowblower? And she goes, yeah, I think we're old enough we can get one now.
There you go.
You're not old at all, Todd. So snowblower is good for youth as well as for elderly.
But you know what I'm talking about. And so anyway, I got a question about bulbs for a little bit. As you know, we're redoing our front yards, our front 2 yards outside. And what am I talking about? I've been up for 2 minutes and I don't make sense. Anyway, in the process of planting some bulbs, I sort of split a couple with the shovel. Is that going to make a difference? Like sliced them?
Just hitting them with the shovel and cutting them in half, Hank, is that going to...
Yeah. Well, one half will bloom, depends on where the sprout is.
Okay.
And the other ones will rot away.
Yeah, so nothing to worry about then?
No.
Well, just make sure you keep them both in the ground because you don't know where that sprout is, right?
Yeah.
So you won't get 2, Todd. You'll still just get 1.
Okay. Well, I don't want 2. We were trying to do it sparingly,
What kind of bulbs are they? What kind of bulbs are they?
They were tulips.
Tulips. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Not to worry about it.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad we got the doctor of tulips on today. That really helps.
I know. It was a nice surprise. Really nice surprise.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And another thing, Mark, what are some of the new products that are coming out this year?
There has not been a lot of new products on the market for the last couple of years because I think all the garden industry, everybody in the industry has been focused on just making sure they had products
of what they had
instead of focusing on new stuff. So actually, Fertilum's come out with a couple new products. So they've got Fungicide 5, which is a nice new natural fungicide that we're excited to try out this year. So it's a biofungicide, so it works on bacteria as well as fungal diseases, and so we're quite excited about that. It's very similar to the complete disease control from Monterey. So that should be pretty exciting. From what I understand, nitrogen prices are starting to come down, and so that's really a good thing because they were really high the last couple of years, and so we're excited about that happening. And then otherwise, there's not really like any super amazing new insecticides out yet that we're aware of, or herbicides. It's just kind of like everybody's just happy to have product this year, I think is where it's going. So a few new things. You see anything new in the market, Hank?
No, there's the new varieties of tulips coming out and daffodils.
Yeah. Anything spectacular that you just say, gotta keep an eye out for this?
Well, there's some nice parrots coming out.
Some new parrot tulips.
Rasta.
Nice. They're fun. Yeah, I like the way those look.
Okay.
Go ahead, Todd.
I was just curious, and I hardly see any ant bait or ant gel and cockroach gel and stuff out anymore. Do they make that stuff anymore?
Yes. But EPA's cracked down on some of the indoor baits, and so some of those have kind of disappeared off the market. But I've got some really great baits for indoors for ants. Haven't seen too many ants this year, but we have seen a lot of like pantry moths. I've had a lot of people in that have had pantry moths, Indian grain moths, and been dealing with those, and lots of fungus gnats in houseplants. A lot of people with fungus gnat issues. So we're working on those with the spinosad and the spinosad soap, or a little bit of permethrin. But the Indian grain moths are really tough, so we usually go with a combination of traps and some contact insecticides as well too, because they're so difficult to get under control. But yeah, ants, we got you covered, Todd.
Okay. I'm so choked up about it all. Can you tell? Anyway, I was just telling Will that I'm up here in Boise, and they've got tulip bulbs blooming, or not blooming, but coming up
starting
already.
to show. Yeah.
Because there's no snow on the ground here, but the mountains have gotten clobbered up here.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
so.
A little bit warmer in Boise than it is here in Cache Valley.
Yeah.
So.
I woke up to a balmy 28 this morning.
There you go. Yeah. Well, you go down to Salt Lake and you get up into the foothills, and they've got lots and lots of snow, but you're in the middle of the valley, and there's nothing. So
yeah, I can believe that. Yeah. I'm just worried about flooding.
Yeah. Well, we'll be prepared. Yeah. As far as I know, Todd, I've never seen Marindale Avenue flood.
Well, good. I'm glad.
In the history of Logan, I don't think Marindale has ever flooded, so I think you'll be okay. So,
what about Canyon Road?
Canyon Road, yes, but only on the south side of the river, not on the north side of the river. And
okay.
I happen to be on the north side of the river, but I have a lot of friends on the south side of the river. Yeah, Fox Farm. When my dad was young, Fox Farm used to be underwater a lot. Because
really?
the fox farms over there, they were up on stilts because the water would come through where the farms were and
just wash it out.
So they had mink and they had fox over there, but all the cages for them were on stilts. So kind of interesting. So that's where Fox Farm Road comes from, because there really was a fox farm there. So, yep, no water coming to your place, Todd. Yep. Yeah, we'll make sure.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, we'll make sure it goes. We'll make sure it goes to the Great Salt Lake instead. So.
That sounds good to me. Well, I appreciate you answering my questions, and welcome back.
All right.
Thank you so much, Todd. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
You too. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Awesome.
Hey, do you know it is time to start spring bulbs already in containers?
In containers?
Well, some people, they dig the dahlias out and store them in the attic or garage, but they can make them pre-start in container and then plant them. And the same with lilies.
So dahlias, lilies. It's time to do begonias as well too. Yeah, begonias and cannas. Yeah. So you could get those started. Cannas, you want to do a pretty good sized pot. You know, like a 1 or 2 gallon.
1 gallon pot.
Yeah, 1 or 2 gallon sized pot. Yeah. The lilies
and begonias should be planted very shallow.
Yeah. Right, just like right on the surface, just barely sticking out. You could probably do those in a 4 or a 6 inch.
Yeah, 4
pot.
to 6 inch
would be quite nice, depending on how big your begonias are.
Lilies, sometimes when they come into the store, they have a sprout
already on them.
If people plant them sideways, the best roots are coming on the stem.
Interesting. Yeah.
So if you plant the bulb in the middle,
on
the top, every Easter wheels you see, every crow is looking for stem roots.
Right.
Because those are the strongest plants.
And interesting. That's very interesting.
What you see on the bottom is just a few old roots, but in half you're looking for the stem roots.
So you want the stem to be deeper.
Yeah.
So that then as it comes up, then it roots out along. So kind of like a tomato. Yeah. So you plant your tomato deeper, then you get the roots that come along the stem.
Sometimes I see in store people looking, but it's grown already, and that's the one I plant in Holland because they give me the best lilies in my yard.
Nice. So you want to make sure and get the crown deeper then, so that the stem can like root all the way along. Okay.
And sometimes you put them sideways, so it has more
stem to show.
Yeah.
And
dahlias don't plant too deep.
Yeah.
Because you want to have the crown sticking out of it.
Okay.
And then depends on you want big flowers or small flowers, same as in mum.
Sure.
You can take pinch the side buds or the main bud.
Okay.
If you pinch the side buds, you can have a bigger flower.
Right.
You pinch the main bud. You're going to have multi-flowers.
Bushier.
Yeah, bushier.
Yeah, bushier. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so I did not know that with the dahlias. You want to make sure that the crown's close to the surface.
Yeah.
But with the lilies, you want them deeper.
Deeper, yeah.
Okay.
Dahlias should be so.
Interesting.
Cool.
All right. Yes. Looks like we've got another caller.
We do.
Yeah.
We have Gordon joining us on the line.
Awesome.
Gordon, welcome back to the Garden Show this morning.
Good morning, guys. Good to hear from you.
Yes.
Good morning.
I always think of Mark's first show as the harbinger of spring, so we hope it is true this year.
You know, I'm looking at the forecast for next week, and it's like mid-30s, and I'm just like going, what? You know?
If this is the jump start to spring, it's going to take a few jumps.
Yeah, like I said, I got my order in, Gordon. It's just been back ordered for a little bit. So,
well, I had a picture pop up in my Facebook memories from 8 years ago and it was just green and not a trace of anything. I went, wow, what a change.
Yeah,
but it's okay. We need a refill on our reservoirs. We've loved watching it snow in Clarkson because it runs down into Newton Dam.
Yeah, I'll bet
if it snows in Newton, it just runs down into the Bear River.
Yeah.
So we love seeing it snow in Clarkson.
Yeah, I'll bet the dam's come up already since last.
It's coming up slowly, but we haven't had a really big melt yet.
Yeah,
but it is. You can see a significant difference from last fall. So
Yeah.
we're getting it'll be filled up this year. So
nice.
We're ready for it. So
that is good.
Well, I'm glad you got Hank on. When I was listening to him this morning, I thought, years ago, after he'd been on, I did the lasagna. Is that what they call it, Hank? The lasagna method of planting bulbs. I did that, so I've got some flowers out here by my pine trees that, they come up and they kind of bloom all summer. I have no idea which bulbs they are, but when I was listening to you this morning, I thought maybe I should do some work on those. They've been in the ground for years and years. Should I be splitting the bulbs every year, or am I good just to sit and enjoy what I get?
Enjoy what you get, and for new packets, I would recommend drive over to Anderson in the fall.
And get some new ones.
Yeah. For the best results.
Yeah. Just to add to it, it's an ongoing process. You just want to keep adding a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't have to feel guilty about not, doing the thing, picking them and splitting the bulbs every year. I just enjoy them as they are.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Unless they quit blooming, they dig them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is nice, and they just faithfully just keep coming up every year. And I have no idea how many years it's been since I put those in the ground. But
it's nice when you don't have to do too much work, and it just magically appears.
Yep.
That's
all right. Well, I good. I'll feel guilty about other stuff.
That's the best. That's really the best thing about bulbs is like once you get them planted and get them going, you just kind of let them do their thing. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Well, that's good news. All right. One caution about throwing the humates on the snow.
Yes.
It's a good idea to wait till you're pretty sure it's done snowing.
October?
It will still melt, and then I'm speaking from experience here. It'll still melt and go down through the snow, but you lose that dark color on the top, melting the snow faster. So your humates will still go through.
Yeah.
But then you'll still have snow there. So yeah, kind of wait till you think it's the end of the snow season. And the other thing is it makes your snow look kind of funny with all that dark.
It does.
At the top.
It does. Yep. But once the sun comes out, man, it just melts it so much faster. It'll get it.
Yeah,
it'll get it
and it'll take a pile down really rapidly, and then you've got your humates in the ground.
Yep. And all of a sudden your grass is like perking up like crazy. So. Yeah, it's all good. So
then you have to mow the grass.
Yeah. So what we need to do, Gordon, is make sure and get people excited about the right kinds of grass this year.
There we go.
Since we're still working on conservation and there's been some bills go through the legislature about people changing their park strip and re-landscaping and doing different things and I think there's a percentage of our population that will do that, but I think people still really like to have turf. But what our legislators don't understand is that if we get people to change their turf to a different kind of turf, we'll actually save more water than if we get 5% of the population to change their landscape.
To just get rid of the turf altogether.
Yeah. It's like, and I don't want to get rid of the turf. We just need it to use less water because the turf does a lot of really great things. I mean, it traps water. When it rains 20 inches, it helps keep that water from running down the streets, and it keeps it in one place, and it filters dirt and dust, and it traps all those, and it creates so much oxygen. A nice turf will produce as much oxygen as a really large tree will.
Huge tree.
Yeah. And so there's some really good.
And in Holland, they start thinking about charging people if they pour concrete in the yard.
Yeah.
They want to charge tax on that.
Really? So they're actually...
Then the water runs off too fast.
It runs off too fast.
Turf, then it holds the water.
It's like you go to Arizona, and every time it rains, it floods because there's nowhere for the water to go. There's nowhere for the water to go. It's like, do we want that here as well too? It's like, no, the turf serves a really, really good purpose. But if you get people to use 50% less water on their turf because they're watering correctly, and we have a variety of grass in there that needs less water, that's 50% across the entire state of less water that we're using. To me, that is a much greater savings than not forcing, but encouraging people to just like tear their
get rid of their grass.
Their
altogether.
grass, yeah. We're just gonna put trees and shrubs in there, which is great. But where is all that water gonna go? It's like we want it to.
Which turf types are the ones that are your best for using less water? Which ones are the ones?
Turf type fescue is going to be your most drought tolerant grass. And where I've got in my yard, my Marks Mix, the Marks Mix has the turf type fescues, like 2 turf type fescues and 2 turf type rye in it. And the rye are also very drought tolerant as well. And you put that in your lawn, and I can water that probably 30 to 40% of what the rest of the lawn gets, and it stays just as green as the rest of the lawn. It's getting less than half of the water, and it stays just as green as the rest of the lawn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and so I've always used your Marks Mix whenever I've had to reseed or anything, and And then last year I used, it was not the Aqueduct, I used the Hydratane.
Right.
And even during the hottest part, I got by with watering sometimes every 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, my lawn didn't look gorgeous. It was just kind of hanging on by its fingernails, but it got me through the summer, and it looked halfway decent.
Yeah.
We were just being so careful with it since the dam is so low that.
And then when it started raining, in the fall, it greened right up, didn't it?
Oh, it was gorgeous. Oh, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it just greens right back up.
Yep.
So you were watering every 2 to 3 weeks then.
Yeah.
That's
we were just stretching as long as we could until you just think, I got to do that before it just catches on fire.
See, that's amazing. That's amazing, Gordon. But it's like when it started raining in late August, early September, it will green right back up. Yeah. Just
so quickly.
Amazing. Yeah. But then you've got this nice turf there that's like collecting dust and collecting dirt and keeping you from tracking mud into your house, and every time it rains, it just absorbs that back down into the soil instead of it just like running off and running over to your neighbor's basement. So that's kind of nice. So
we kind of got to get our legislators to understand that aspect of it as well.
Yeah. I think that in the long run, I think that is much more effective at conserving water. Because people want turf. People want turf. It's just nice. If we can get everybody convinced that they just need a slightly different kind of turf and teach them how to do it, it's really easy to do. It really is easy. It's not as hard. It's not as expensive as tearing all your landscape out and redoing it. And we'll make a much bigger impact on our water conservation by doing that. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
Good. I better let you go. It's good to know that I'm using the correct mix, Marks Mix, and that I can enjoy my bulbs guilt-free. Thank you, Hank.
All right. You have a good day now.
Wonderful.
All right, we'll talk to y'all later.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, we got to talk a lot of bulbs this morning. Yeah, that's great. And I learned some new things as well too. Every time you're on, I learn something new, Hank. So it's amazing.
Yeah. Now, we want to mention, too, we've only got 2 minutes left, but for people that weren't catching the beginning of the show, Bare Roots coming in.
Yeah, so yesterday our first shipment of onions came in, so Texas onions, and they're going to show up every week for the next 2 months. So we'll have onions coming from Texas until probably the first week of May. But the earlier you get your onions in, the better they're going to do. And then next week we have our first batch of fruit trees coming in. I've got 3 shipments of fruit trees coming this year. And we're talking thousands of trees. So we have lots coming. But if there's something special you're looking for, this is the week to come in and get on our list. And we will call you text you, email you, whatever you want, let you know when those varieties show up because they go really quickly. I mean, last year we were out of peaches before the end of March, and that was with 3 different shipments of peaches coming in, and we carry about 25 different varieties. So you want to get on our list so that we can let you know when those varieties show up, and we'll be happy to recommend some really great varieties as well too. So fruit trees showing up next week. Potatoes, asparagus, strawberries, probably not next week, but the week after. And then raspberries closer towards the end of the month. And then all of a sudden, all the small fruits like grapes and blackberries and currants and gooseberry, all that stuff will show up by probably around the 17th, 20th of March. So this is Bare Root Month.
And if people want to start putting in some of those plants, getting them ready in pots in your yard,
they can handle
stop by Anderson's and you can get them all set to go.
Yep, they can handle the cold, and they'll take whatever Mother Nature throws at them. So, Hank, thanks so much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you here, and got a lot of questions answered today. So that's good.
And we hope everyone joins us again. We'll be back next Saturday for the Garden Guide here on KVNU.
Keeping you informed 24/7. News Talk KVNU Logan 610 AM.